Okay, I just went to Harbor Freight, got some supplies, welding rods, Sawzall blades, and I'm going to replace this bumper with a much more heavy-duty one. Okay, so I hopped on Facebook's and I got this bull bar, which is for a totally different truck. It's too small, does not fit. It's about 58 inches long, and the bumper on this truck is give or take 70 inches. So I'm gonna have to pull this apart and do some finagling, and I'm gonna use this. This is a giant street sign pole that I stole, legally acquired. I also have a bunch of rebar and other scrap metal to, you know, finagle this into something that resembles a bumper. This is really thick. Look at that. So that should work pretty well. Obviously I'm gonna have to cut it to size. I could double it up. I could even use half of it for the back bumper. I don't know yet, we'll see. But as it sits right now, it's approximately 1 Celica long. All right, I'm gonna take these 2 brackets off of the bumper, and I'm gonna use these brackets, I'm gonna bolt them back up to the truck without the bumper, and then I'm gonna build the new bumper off of these brackets right on the truck. I think that's the easiest way to do this. Okay, these bolts will not come out, so they're gonna get deleted. I don't need these bolts. All right, so I got the bull bar bolted up on one side. Obviously it isn't wide enough. I'm gonna cut these tubes off in the middle and then bolt the other side on, and then I'll build the bumper off of those. All right, I think these tubes are just kind of held on to the inside tube with like this rivet right here. That's what it looks like. There's only one inside there, so I'm just gonna grind that off and see if these will just come right off. Alright, so these bolt on, and I have the bolts for them, and there's actually holes drilled for them already in this, but it would have to be mounted right there, and I don't want it right there. I kind of want it like this. Like the angle is wrong, and it's not, it kind of blocks the headlight a little bit. I don't know, I mean, it's not even bad. It's like, I could totally get away with just mounting it like that, but I kind of want to put it exactly where I want it, which is more up here. So I'm just going to weld this in place. Okay, unfortunately I didn't get to record every single aspect of putting this bumper together because I dropped my camera halfway through and the SD card went flying across the room and I couldn't find it for 2 days. So this is what you missed. Okay, so first off, these headlight guard pieces were originally attached to this bull bar that was too small that I got. You could see one of the mounting holes there. The other one I welded over. These were the brackets that bolted these things on. I ended up having to cut these brackets off and just weld these bars on, which seems like it wouldn't be strong enough, but it very much is and is not going anywhere. This is thick enough metal, thankfully. So I just cut these at an angle here and eyeballed it to perfection. And then I added, let me go on the other side and show you. See this rebar here, I added at an angle from the bottom to the tip here, and then I filled it in with just some sheet metal I had laying around, and then welded it all the way around. So there's rebar on the bottom along the whole bumper, including this middle section. So it's very strong, much stronger than the stock bumper, that's for sure. It's got this line in it because I didn't bother cleaning it up because, again, it's just scrap metal, but I don't care. And these end pieces, I plan on cutting a circle out and capping these off. I don't really have the right tools to make an aesthetically pleasing circle to cap this off with. So for now, they're just open. Here's a closer look of how I attached it. I ended up having to get some new bolts. That's why that one right there is shiny, because the old bolt was too rusty. But this bull bar is just sandwiched in place between the stock bumper bracket and this slot in the frame rail here where it inserts. And then I just bolted everything up and just tightened it down, and it works totally fine. So it's only attached by these two bolts here, and then the exact same thing on the other side. I didn't really talk about this. This is the little support that I put on both sides. I just welded this to this little bracket nubbin that was already on here, and then on the bottom it's welded to the bumper bracket and the bracket for the bull bar, and that just makes it more sturdily attached to the stock bumper brackets. That way, if I want to take this off, this whole thing will come off in one piece instead of the bull bar and the brackets separately. Now these tube ends here, you can see where I welded on the thicker steel from that street pole. This piece is slightly thinner metal, but it's a bigger diameter, and this just kind of fit in there perfectly. It provided a pretty decent gap for me to be able to weld it all the way around. And then these are just the stock tow hooks off the truck that bolt into the brackets. I just left those alone. I mean, this bumper isn't made for like a winch mount or anything, but I mainly just built it to look cool, and I think I definitely accomplished that. I like this angle here. Gives you a little more approach angle, I guess, into the wheel there. See, I still have the stock bumper in here. Now this back bumper is next. I definitely want to do something about this. It's got rust hole there, and on the other side it had a much more major rust hole, and then somebody didn't like my sticker here and crashed into me, making it a lot worse. So this bumper really looks like crap. I definitely want to do something about this. So whenever I decide to do that, I'll make another video about it. Here's a closer look at my headache rack I made for this truck too. This is pretty universal for these GMT 400 trucks. It should transfer onto any other truck if I want to put it on there. It's just bolted in with 5 grade 8 bolts on either side. Now this toolbox is too small for this truck, so this is some 1/4-inch steel plate that I just bolted to this, and then that's what the toolbox sits on. See, it's bolted in there on both sides. And I didn't want like a screen or a mesh or something interfering with my view out of the back window, so I just used rebar. I think that will work perfectly fine. It already saved me once. It's got a big dent in it right there.